This video is about Hope. She was just a teacher until a millionaire turned her tears into joy. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. She was just a teacher until a millionaire turned her tears into joy. Part 1. In the small town of Maplewood, nestled between rolling hills and a shimmering lake, lived a woman named Clara. To the townsfolk, she was simply Miss Thompson, the beloved third-grade teacher at Maplewood Elementary. For Clara, teaching was more than a job. It was her calling, her sanctuary. Each morning she arrived early at the school, her heart swelling with anticipation for the day ahead. She believed every child had the potential to shine brightly, no matter the circumstances. But underneath Clara's warm smile lay a world of struggles. Her life had been a tapestry woven with threads of loss and disappointment. As a young girl, she lost her parents in a car accident, leaving her to navigate the turbulent waters of life alone. She often recalled the days when she would sit on the porch of her childhood home, staring at the horizon, dreaming of a future filled with hope. Those dreams, however, often felt distant, overshadowed by the harsh realities she faced. After the loss of her parents, Clara moved in with her aunt, who loved her dearly but often struggled to make ends meet. Clara took on odd jobs after school to help with bills, sacrificing her adolescent dreams for the sake of survival. Despite these hardships, she found solace in education, pouring her heart into her studies and earning a scholarship that allowed her to attend college. Clara's passion for teaching fueled her determination. She saw herself in her students, those bright-eyed kids who came to school carrying the weight of their own stories. Each day, she worked tirelessly to create an inclusive, nurturing environment where every child felt valued, regardless of their background. But as the years went on, Clara found herself increasingly overwhelmed by the challenges faced by her students. The school was located in a low-income area where many families struggled to put food on the table. Clara often noticed her students arriving hungry, their focus drifting as their stomachs grumbled. She made it a ritual to keep snacks in her desk, discreetly offering them to anyone who needed a pick-me-up. One rainy afternoon, Clara sat at her desk, her heart heavy with the weight of her students' struggles. She had just learned that one of her brightest students, Timmy, had been evicted from his home, leaving him and his little sister to stay with relatives. Clara had watched Timmy's face light up when he learned to read. Now, it was clouded with worry. As she stared out the window, raindrops racing down the glass, Clara couldn't shake the feeling of helplessness. She wanted to do more, to be more for her students. If only I could find a way to help them all, she whispered to herself, her voice barely above a breath. The following week, Clara organized a bake sale to raise money for school supplies. She spent nights baking cookies and cupcakes, pouring her heart into each treat. On the day of the sale, the school buzzed with excitement, but the turnout was disappointing. With only a handful of parents showing up, Clara's heart sank. As she packed up the leftover treats, a single tear rolled down her cheek. It felt like yet another battle lost in a series of uphill struggles. Just as she turned to leave, she heard a voice behind her. "Hey there, Miss Thompson. Need a hand?" It was Robert, a local businessman and philanthropist. He had a reputation for helping community initiatives, but had always kept a distance from the school. Clara wiped her tear hastily, trying to regain her composure. "Oh, just a small bake sale. It didn't go as planned," she admitted, her voice tinged with disappointment. Robert stepped forward, a genuine smile on his face. "I heard about your efforts to support the kids. Why don't we chat? I might have some ideas that could help." Clara hesitated, unsure of what to say. She had always prided herself on being independent, but something about Robert's warm demeanor made her feel safe. They sat on the bench outside the school, the rain still tapping rhythmically on the roof, creating a comforting backdrop to their conversation. Robert listened intently as Clara spoke about her students, their dreams, their struggles, and the love she had for teaching them. He was moved by her dedication. "You have a gift, Clara. The impact you're making is immeasurable," Robert said, his eyes reflecting sincerity. As they talked, Clara felt a spark of hope flicker within her. Perhaps, just perhaps, this was the beginning of something that could change the landscape of her students' lives. Robert proposed we could host an event to raise funds for the school. A community fair where local businesses could donate goods and services. Clara's heart raced at the thought. "That sounds incredible," she replied, feeling a surge of excitement. "But do you really think we could pull it off?" "Absolutely," Robert said with unwavering confidence. "Together, we can create something beautiful." Over the next few weeks, the two worked tirelessly, enlisting the help of parents, local businesses, and even students. Clara organized games, art displays, and food stalls, while Robert reached out for sponsors and donations. The town began to buzz with anticipation, and for the first time in a long while, Clara felt the weight lifting from her shoulders. On the day of the fair, the sun shone brightly, and laughter echoed throughout the school grounds. Clara's heart swelled with pride as she watched her students run around, their faces painted, their spirits high. The community came alive, each person contributing their time and resources. Robert's vision had materialized into a beautiful tapestry of support and joy. Clara couldn't help but smile as she watched parents engage with their children, laughter mingling with the sweet scent of cotton candy. She realized that this event was more than just fundraising. It was a celebration of the community's spirit. As the day unfolded, they raised more money than Clara had ever imagined. With every ticket sold, every game played, she felt a sense of hope blossom within her. The funds would allow her to purchase essential school supplies, and perhaps even create after-school programs for her students. But as the sun began to set, Clara found herself in a moment of reflection. She stepped away from the festivities to catch her breath, leaning against an old oak tree that had stood in the schoolyard for generations. Her heart was filled with gratitude, but there was a lingering thought, a voice in her mind whispering that this was just the beginning. "Hey, you okay?" Robert approached, his face warm with concern. "I'm just thinking. This means so much to me and the kids. But what about when the fair is over?" Clara's voice trembled with vulnerability. Robert smiled gently. "The fair was just a catalyst. You have the power to keep this momentum going. You've already inspired others. Imagine what more you could do." As they stood together, Clara felt the stirrings of determination. She understood now that her journey was not just about surviving, it was about thriving. She realized that the tears she had shed for her students' struggles could indeed transform into joy, not just for herself, but for the entire community. "Let's keep this spirit alive," Clara said, her voice steady. "Let's create a foundation, a space for kids to learn and grow, to feel supported and loved." Robert nodded, his eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. "I believe in you, Clara. Let's make it happen." And in that moment, with the sun dipping below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the school grounds, Clara felt a sense of purpose rise within her. No longer just a teacher, she was a beacon of hope, ready to face the challenges ahead, armed with the power of resilience and community. Little did she know, this was only the beginning of a journey that would not only change the lives of her students, but also her own. And as Clara stepped back into the vibrant chaos of the fair, she could feel the whispers of possibility dance in the air, igniting a flame of hope that would guide her through the uncertainty of tomorrow. Yes, she was just a teacher, until a millionaire turned her tears into joy, Part 2. As the last remnants of the fair danced into memory, Clara found herself enveloped in a newfound sense of purpose. The sun had set, leaving a soft twilight glow over Maplewood, but the warmth in her heart remained. She and Robert stood at the edge of the fairground, surrounded by remnants of joy, the laughter of children still echoing in the air, their faces smeared with colorful icing. "Can you believe we did this?" Clara exclaimed, the excitement bubbling within her. "I never imagined our little bake sale would turn into something so grand." Robert chuckled, his eyes twinkling with pride. "You did this, Clara. Your passion was the spark that ignited this fire. It's a testament to what can happen when we believe in our dreams." "I just want my students to have opportunities," Clara replied, her voice quivering with emotion. to feel seen, valued, loved. As they packed away the remnants of the fair, Clara's mind raced with possibilities. With the funds they raised, she envisioned a safe space where her students could explore their interests. We could have after-school tutoring sessions, art classes, and even a book club. She couldn't help but smile as she shared her ideas with Robert, who listened intently. "That's the spirit," he encouraged, "but let's take it one step at a time. First, we need to establish a foundation that will sustain these programs long-term." In the weeks that followed, Clara dedicated herself to creating the Maplewood Educational Foundation. She pored over paperwork, learned about nonprofits, and reached out to community leaders. Robert stood by her side, guiding her through the intricacies of grant writing and fundraising, igniting a flame of hope within her that she initially struggled to embrace. One evening, as they sat together at Clara's kitchen table, littered with papers and coffee cups, Clara felt overwhelmed. "What if we can't do this, Robert? What if I fail? Do you remember the first time you helped Timmy read?" Robert asked gently. "Each small victory is a step toward a greater goal. You're not alone in this." Clara let the memory wash over her. Timmy, with his bright blue eyes and determination, had struggled with reading, but he persisted. "You're right. If I can help him, I can do this," she said, feeling the resolve settle into her bones. With renewed determination, Clara organized a community meeting to discuss the foundation's vision. She stood at the front of the gymnasium, her heart racing. Parents, teachers, and community members filled the room, their faces filled with curiosity. "Thank you all for coming," Clara began, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "I want to create a space where our children can thrive. We can be their champions, providing the support they need to rise above their circumstances." As she spoke, Clara's passion ignited the room. She shared stories of her students, their resilience resonating with everyone present. Suddenly, hands began to raise, offering help, resources, and ideas. Clara felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. By the end of the meeting, the foundation was officially born. Volunteers lined up to help with everything from tutoring to organizing fundraising events. The community came together, fueled by Clara's infectious enthusiasm. Robert, ever her steadfast supporter, crafted a strategic plan that would guide their efforts. However, the journey was not without its obstacles. A few weeks later, Clara received news that the school district had tightened budgets, jeopardizing their after-school programs. Sitting at her kitchen table once more, Clara felt the weight of the world pressing down upon her. "Clara," Robert said, breaking the heavy silence, "this isn't the end. It's a challenge, yes, but we can adapt. Let's brainstorm." Clara looked up, tears brimming in her eyes. "What if we can't secure the funds in time? What will that mean for the kids?" "Let's focus on what we can control," he replied, his tone soothing. "We'll reach out to local businesses, hold fundraisers, and apply for grants. This is our chance to show the community how much these kids need us." With Robert's encouragement, Clara wrote heartfelt letters to local businesses, sharing her mission's urgency. Slowly, support trickled in. The bakery donated treats for a fundraiser, the local bookstore provided books for the programs, and even the town council agreed to host a charity dinner. Clara felt hope rekindling, but doubt lingered in her mind. One rainy afternoon, Clara visited the library to meet with a local author who had agreed to host a reading for the students. As she entered, she caught sight of Timmy, now a fourth grader, sitting with a group of younger children. They were gathered around him, hanging on to every word he spoke as he read aloud. "Timmy," Clara exclaimed, her heart swelling with pride. "You've taken a leadership role." He looked up, a shy smile blooming on his face. "I figured if I can read, I can help them too." His words struck a chord deep within Clara. This was what it was all about. Creating leaders, instilling confidence, empowering children to become their best selves. Inspired by Timmy's transformation, Clara returned home that evening, her spirit lifted. She sat down with Robert, her mind buzzing with ideas. What if we start a mentorship program? The older students can help the younger ones with reading and homework." "That's brilliant," Robert exclaimed, his enthusiasm infectious. It could foster a sense of belonging and inspire the kids to believe in themselves. As they sketched out their plan, Clara felt a sense of urgency. She sent emails to schools and community centers, inviting students to join the mentoring program. Clara organized an event where older students would mentor younger ones, creating bonds that would transcend age. The day of the mentorship launch arrived, and Clara felt nervous energy buzz in the air. The gym was filled with excitement as students filtered in, bright-eyed and eager. Timmy stood beside Clara, ready to take on the role of mentor. "Remember," Clara addressed the crowd, "this is about sharing knowledge and encouragement. Each of you is capable of greatness." The room erupted with cheers, and Clara felt tears prick her eyes. She noticed transformed faces among the students, their enthusiasm contagious. Timmy led a group of younger kids, guiding them through reading exercises. Clara watched in awe as the children supported each other, laughter echoing through the gym. That evening, as she drove home, Clara reflected on the magic of the day. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Robert. "You did it, Clara. The foundation is making waves, and I'm proud of you." A smile spread across Clara's face as she parked her car. She realized that they were not just building a foundation. They were weaving a tapestry of support and love throughout the community. However, challenges loomed on the horizon. One day, Clara received a call from the school principal. "Clara, we need to discuss the foundation's funding. The district is concerned about the long-term sustainability of your programs." Clara felt her heart drop. "But we've worked so hard. The kids depend on us." "I understand, but we need a solid plan," the principal said gently. "Perhaps you can present a detailed proposal to the school board." Determined, Clara poured herself into the proposal, outlining the foundation's successes and presenting her vision for the future. She spent countless nights revising and perfecting her presentation, fueled by the faces of her students. On the day of the board meeting, Clara stood before the members, her heart pounding. "I believe in these kids. They have dreams, aspirations, and potential that should never be stifled. This foundation is their chance to shine." As she spoke, Clara could see the board members exchanging glances. One member, a stern woman with years of experience, raised a brow. "What will you do if funding is cut again?" Clara's heart raced, but she held her ground. "We will adapt, innovate, and find new ways to engage the community. We are not just teaching subjects, we're empowering students to lead." After a tense pause, the board members conferred quietly. Finally, the chair spoke. "We appreciate your dedication, Clara. We'll support the foundation, but we need regular reports on its progress. Can you do that?" "Yes," Clara beamed, tears of relief and joy welling in her eyes. "Thank you. You won't regret it." As she left the meeting, Clara felt an overwhelming sense of triumph. They were not just surviving. They were thriving, building a legacy of hope for generations to come. Months passed, and the foundation flourished. Clara watched as her students transformed, their confidence blossoming. They participated in community service, tutoring younger kids, and even organizing book drives. The town rallied behind them, hosting events that raised awareness and funds for the foundation. One day, Clara stood on the school's stage, watching Timmy, now a fifth grader, present a speech at the annual community fundraiser. "Miss Thompson taught me that every story matters. We can be the heroes of our own stories," he proclaimed, his voice steady. Tears streamed down Clara's face as she listened, her heart swelling with pride. This was the legacy she had hoped for. Children believing in themselves and each other, empowered to overcome challenges. As the applause echoed in the gym, Clara glanced to the side. "Was just a teacher, until a millionaire turned her tears into joy." Part 3. As the applause echoed in the gym, Clara glanced to the side, where Robert stood, his eyes glistening with pride. The community had rallied together in ways Clara never thought possible, and she felt a warmth spread through her, wrapping around her heart like a soft blanket on a chilly night. "Look at them," Robert whispered, nodding toward the students. "You've helped them find their voices. This is what it's all about." Clara wiped her tears, grateful for the support of a man who had become her partner not just in advocacy but in life. "I can hardly believe how far we've come. Just a few months ago, I was worried we wouldn't even raise enough for pencils. Your belief has created this ripple effect," he said, his voice steady and filled with admiration. "Remember how you felt when you first started?" "I do," Clara smiled, recalling her early doubts and fears. "But every child deserves to feel valued. I just wanted them to know that they matter." Robert stepped closer, lowering his voice. "And they do. Thanks to you, they're starting to realize it." As the event wrapped up, Clara felt a surge of energy. The foundation had grown beyond her wildest dreams. But as she surveyed the room filled with laughter and joy, a lingering fear crept back into her mind. What would happen once the excitement settled? Would they be able to sustain this momentum? Later that night, Clara lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her thoughts racing. "What if we can't keep this going?" she murmured to Robert, who was reading a book beside her. "You've done amazing things, Clara," he said, glancing up. "But I understand your concern. Sustainability is important. Let's discuss long-term strategies tomorrow. You're not alone in this." Clara sighed, grateful for his unwavering support. "I just want to make sure the kids have everything they need." The next morning, they gathered in the kitchen, armed with coffee and a whiteboard. "Okay, let's outline what's working and what needs improvement," Robert suggested, jotting down ideas as Clara spoke. "We need more community involvement. The success of the foundation depends on that," Clara said. "What if we created mentorship programs that allowed older students to mentor younger ones? We could showcase their achievements at yearly events." Robert grinned, clearly impressed. "I love it. Plus, we should look into grants and partnerships with local businesses that can provide resources and funding." Clara nodded fervently. "Exactly. We could even set up a student program where donors can fund a child's materials and activities for a year." "Brilliant," Robert replied, his enthusiasm infectious. "Let's draft a proposal to present at the next community meeting. We can highlight these ideas and ask for feedback." With renewed determination, they set off to work, crafting documents and outreach materials that showcased the Foundation's mission and how the community could help. Days turned into weeks filled with meetings and brainstorming sessions. The momentum began to build again, as parents and local business owners rallied around Clara's vision. At their next community gathering, Clara stood before a crowd that had grown larger than ever. The gym buzzed with excitement, and she felt a rush of nerves. "We've achieved so much together," she began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "But this is just the beginning. I believe that together we can create a lasting impact on our children's futures." As she shared her ideas for the mentorship program and the sponsor a student initiative, Clara could see the spark in the crowd's eyes. Hands shot up, ideas flowed, and by the end of the meeting, Clara felt a sense of triumph wash over her. They had not only captured their interest, but ignited a passion for collective action. Afterward, Robert pulled Clara aside. "You did it again. The community is behind us." She smiled, but a hint of worry creased her brow. "I just hope we can deliver on their expectations." "We will," Robert reassured her. "But let's stay proactive. We can't wait for things to happen. We need to make things happen." As summer approached, the foundation began to take shape. Clara spent countless evenings planning mentorship meetups, organizing supplies, and setting up training sessions for older students. With each passing day, she felt a growing sense of purpose, but the challenges of balancing her personal life often weighed heavy. One evening, while preparing for a mentorship event, Clara received a text from her aunt, who had raised her after her parents' tragic passing. "Clara, I know you're busy, but I would love to see you soon. It's been too long. Clara stared at the message, a pang of guilt hitting her. Between her role as a teacher and the foundation, she had neglected her personal relationships. I'll call her tomorrow, she promised herself. But as the days went by, the phone call never came. During a particularly hectic week, Clara stumbled home late one evening after finishing up a mentorship event. She found Robert cooking dinner, the smell of garlic and herbs wafting through the air. "There you are. I was getting worried," he said, setting the table. "I lost track of time," Clara admitted, her voice weary. "I'm trying to tackle a million things at once." Robert looked at her with concern. "You can't pour from an empty cup, Clara. Remember to take care of yourself, too." "I know," she sighed. "But the kids need me, and I can't let them down." "Your well-being is also important," he urged gently. "They need you at your best." Clara nodded, though the weight of her responsibilities pressed heavily on her heart. As they sat down to dinner, Robert reached for her hand. "Let's make a plan. We'll set aside evenings just for us. No work, no foundation talk. It's time for you to reconnect with your own life." Clara smiled, grateful for his unwavering support. "That sounds wonderful." The following week, she finally made time to visit her aunt. As she entered her old childhood home, memories rushed back, filling her heart with nostalgia. Her aunt greeted her with open arms, wrapping her in a warm embrace. "I've missed you, Clara." "I've missed you too, Aunt Ruth," Clara replied, her voice thick with emotion. They spent the afternoon reminiscing, sharing stories, and laughing, while Clara felt the weight of her worries slowly lift. "Tell me about this foundation you've started," her aunt prompted, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Clara launched into her stories, and as she spoke, she felt a renewed sense of hope. "It's amazing, Aunt Ruth. I'm seeing these children blossom, and it fills my heart with joy." Ruth listened intently, pride radiating from her. "You've always had a gift. Your parents would be so proud." The words resonated deeply, filling Clara with warmth. "Thank you. I just want to make a difference." "You are," her aunt replied, her voice steady. "But remember, you're allowed to take breaks. Your heart can't do it all if you're running on empty." That evening, Clara returned home with a lighter spirit. As she walked through the door, Robert greeted her with a smile. "How was it?" "Wonderful," Clara sighed, her heart full. "I realized how important it is to reconnect with family." "Good, because you deserve that balance," he said, pulling her close. "Now, how about a movie night? Just us." Clara beamed, grateful for the small moments that reminded her of life beyond her responsibilities. They settled on the couch, popcorn in hand, and for a few hours the world outside faded away. They laughed and shared stories, the warmth of their bond enveloping them. As the summer continued, the mentorship program flourished. Clara watched in awe as her students grew into confident leaders. Timmy, now a mentor, organized reading clubs that brought younger students together, fostering a sense of community and belonging. One late afternoon, Clara received an unexpected phone call from the school board. "Clara, we've seen the impact the foundation is having on the students. We'd like to discuss a potential partnership that could further enhance your programs," the principal said, her voice brimming with excitement. Clara felt her heart race. "I'd love to discuss it. When can we meet?" A week later, Clara walked into the school board meeting, her heart pounding. The room was filled with familiar faces, all eyes on her. "Thank you for considering the foundation," she began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Our mission is to empower our students. We want them to realize their potential." As she presented her data and shared success stories, the board members nodded, their expressions indicating genuine interest. When Clara finished, there was a moment of silence before the chair spoke. "We believe in your vision, Clara. We're ready to support your efforts." As Clara left the meeting, a wave of elation washed over her. The foundation would not only survive but thrive, bringing hope and inspiration to countless students. That evening, Clara and Robert celebrated over dinner. "You did it!" Robert exclaimed, raising his glass. "This is a monumental step forward." Clara felt tears prick her eyes. "I couldn't have done it without your support. Thank you for believing in me." He was just a teacher. Until a millionaire turned her tears into joy. Part 4. That evening, amidst the twinkling lights of their cozy home, Clara put her glass down and took a deep breath. "This feels surreal, Robert. I never imagined the foundation could grow to this extent." Robert smiled, leaning back in his chair. "You built this from the ground up. This is your passion and your hard work paying off. Just look at how the community has rallied behind you." Clara gazed out the window, watching the stars twinkle above Maplewood. "But what if I can't keep it going? What if I fail to meet their expectations?" "Then you learn, and you adapt. That's how growth happens," he replied, his voice steady. "You're not alone in this. We're in it together." The warmth of his words enveloped her, but Clara still felt a twinge of anxiety. As the weeks turned into months, she poured herself into every facet of the foundation, overseeing programs, coordinating events, and managing the rise in volunteer support. Yet, with each success came an unyielding pressure to sustain it. One sunny afternoon, while Clara was reviewing paperwork at the kitchen table, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Timmy, now in 6th grade. "Miss Thompson, we're having a reading club tomorrow. Can you come?" A rush of joy spread through Clara. "Of course, Timmy. I wouldn't miss it for the world," she replied, her heart swelling with pride. He had transformed not only into a reader, but also into a leader, fostering a love for learning among his peers. But as she arrived at the community center the next day, Clara felt an unexpected wave of doubt wash over her. Timmy was waiting by the door, animatedly discussing the book they'd be reading. But Clara's mind drifted to the looming financial report she had to prepare for the next school board meeting. "Miss Thompson," Timmy called, pulling her back into the moment. "I can't wait to show you my favorite part of the story." "Lead the way," Clara replied, forcing a smile as she followed him into the room filled with eager faces. After a lively reading session, Clara gathered the students around for a discussion. Timmy spoke passionately about the characters, encouraging the others to share their thoughts. Watching them engage, Clara felt a sense of hope igniting within her. After the session, Clara pulled Timmy aside. "You're doing an incredible job leading the club. I'm so proud of you," she said, her heart full. "Thanks, Miss Thompson. I just want everyone to love reading like I do." His enthusiasm was infectious, and Clara couldn't help but feel reassured. "But don't forget, you also have your own studies to focus on," she reminded him gently. "You can't be there for everyone all the time." "I know, but this is important," Timmy replied, his gaze sincere. "Just like you taught me, and I want to help make a difference." As Clara walked home that evening, her heart brimmed with pride. Yet, the creeping anxiety returned. She had been so focused on building the foundation that she had neglected her own self-care, and the weight of it all began to feel overwhelming. Later that week, Clara sat at her kitchen table, surrounded by papers and receipts, feeling drained. Robert walked in, noticing her fatigue. "You need a break, Clara. Why don't we take a day off this weekend?" "A day off? But there's so much to do," Clara protested. Robert sat down beside her, gently taking her hands in his. "You've done so much already. The foundation will be okay for one day. You need to recharge. Remember what your aunt said." Clara sighed. The thought of taking a break felt foreign. "I know. But what if something goes wrong while I'm gone? Then we'll handle it together." "Life is about balance, Clara," Robert replied firmly, his eyes filled with understanding. "Let's go explore the lake. Take a walk in the woods, just the two of us." Clara bit her lip, contemplating. A small part of her longed for that escape, to feel the warmth of the sun on her skin and the gentle whisper of the wind through the trees. "Okay, you win," she finally conceded, a smile breaking through the heaviness. A day at the lake it is. The following Saturday, they arrived at the lake, the sun casting a golden hue across the water. Clara took a deep breath, letting the fresh air fill her lungs. "It's beautiful here," she said, her voice carrying a hint of awe. "Just like you," Robert replied, his gaze warm. They walked along the shore, hand in hand, as Clara felt the tension begin to melt away. After a picnic lunch of sandwiches and fresh fruit, they sat on the grassy bank, watching the rippling water. "You know," Robert began, "the foundation is thriving because of your heart and dedication. But don't forget to nurture yourself too. You deserve happiness just as much as your students do." Clara nodded slowly, feeling the weight of his words. "I've been so focused on everyone else that I've almost forgotten how to enjoy life for myself." "Change that," he said firmly. "You're not just a teacher. You're a woman with dreams, a life to live. Allow yourself to dream again. What do you want beyond the foundation?" Clara looked out at the lake, her mind swirling with possibilities. "I want to travel, to see places I've only read about, to inspire others beyond this town." "Then let's start planning a trip," Robert suggested with a grin. "Life is too short to stay in one place." That evening, Clara felt a renewed sense of purpose. "You're right," she said, her voice steady. "I need to find that balance. It's time to not only be a teacher, but also to live fully." As summer blossomed into autumn, Clara found her rhythm. She maintained the momentum of the foundation while embracing the joy of life beyond it. They organized community events that brought in families together, game nights, art shows, and cultural fairs, all aimed at celebrating unity and diversity. One evening, Clara sat down with Robert to plan their first ever harvest festival. "We can invite local farmers, have food stalls, and celebrate the spirit of the community," Clara proposed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "And we can use the proceeds to fund after-school programs." "Sounds like a plan," Robert replied, enthusiasm evident in his tone. "Let's involve the students too. They can help organize and participate. It'll be great for them to take ownership of the event." As the festival drew closer, Clara watched her students step up, contributing their ideas and energy. Timmy led a team that decorated the school, while others volunteered to create banners and invitations. The collaboration transformed the event into a celebration of community, and Clara felt her heart swell with pride. The day of the Harvest Festival arrived, and the school grounds were alive with colors, laughter, and the rich smell of autumn. Families gathered, and the joyous atmosphere filled Clara's heart with warmth. She wandered around, talking to parents and students, soaking in the tangible love that surrounded her. "Miss Thompson, come look at our booth," Timmy shouted, waving her over. Clara made her way to him, finding him surrounded by younger children, explaining the games they had created. "This is fantastic, Timmy. You've done an amazing job," Clara exclaimed, her voice filled with pride. "Thanks. I wanted to make sure everyone had fun," he replied, his face beaming. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, Clara took a moment to breathe it all in. The festival was a success, and the funds they raised exceeded her expectations. In the weeks that followed, they secured enough support to expand the mentorship program and add new educational initiatives. But just as the foundation began to flourish, life threw another challenge Clara's way. One evening, while preparing for a school board meeting, she received a call from the principal. "Clara, I'm afraid we need to discuss a serious matter. The district is considering budget cuts that could affect our after-school programs." Clara felt her heart sink. "But we've worked so hard to establish these programs. The kids need them more than ever." "I know, and I wish I had better news," the principal replied gently. "But I urge you to prepare a robust plan for the meeting. You'll need to show how vital these programs are for our students' success." Clara hung up, anxiety churning within her. How could she fight against budget cuts? She spent the night drafting a presentation, pouring her heart into statistics, anecdotes, and the stories of students whose lives had changed because of the foundation. At the meeting, Clara stood before the school board, her heart racing. Our community has rallied to support the foundation, and we've witnessed firsthand how our after-school programs have transformed lives. Without them, we risk losing the progress we've made. As she spoke, she saw nodding heads and sympathetic expressions. But one board member, a stern man known for his tough stance on budget issues, raised his hand. While I appreciate your passion, we need to cut costs. Why should we prioritize this program when funds are tight? Clara felt a lump form in her throat but took a deep breath. Because every child deserves a chance. Investing in our